Please don't get yourself in a situation to where you owe do bankruptcy. I don't say that lightly. My family went bankrupt before. I know what it is to go bankrupt. I get it. But you correct it, and in 7 years, it's off your record. Don't become a slave to anyone. What are the strings attached to that one? So now the government's going to start just buying up houses, buying up your mortgage, bailing you out. Whew. And now we have the other shoe of the media saying it's violence, it's violence, it's violence, it's violence, it's violence, it's violence. Tea parties. Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, dangerous. Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, dangerous. Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, dangerous. I want you to hear Ed Shcultz. For 99.9% of America, this will be the first time you've ever heard of or heard his voice. Ed Shcultz, who the New York Times once said would be the next Rush Limbaugh. I don't know in what parallel universe that happened, but it didn't happen in this one. Here he is on his radio broadcast that at least is syndicated, but I'm not sure is aired at any station due to lack of ratings. But here's what he said yesterday. Listen carefully.
It is a cultural war that's taking place in America. You're exactly right. And it's being played out over the airwaves of America. And I hope the Democrats now turn to the fairness doctrine. It's time now for the Democrats to consider the fairness doctrine when you've got Rush Limbaugh out there saying we've got to defeat these bastards. He is now openly admitting that he is going to work against and campaign against against the Democratic Party and campaign against Obama. And he is motivating people with the microphone, and he's electioneering. Keep on talking, Rushki. Hell, maybe I'll get on 600 stations, too, or how many you own or whatever.
Not likely.
The fact is, look, it's not a level playing field when it comes to the audio culture of the country. Ownership has its privileges. When you own, I will be honest, if I own 500 stations, the drugstore wouldn't be on any of them.
Unbelievable.
And that's just where it's at right now. But maybe we have reached the point where the Congress needs to equal it out. Equal out the audience.
What a clear...
Just keep in mind.
Listen.
There aren't any poor people with microphones.
I'd like to disagree with that.
And so I think that, hell, if we're going to be socialists, let's be socialists all across the board.
Got it?
There you go.
Got it?
Socialize the airwaves.
Got it?
And by the way, Rush doesn't own any radio stations.
No. Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, we are all on AM radio. Is there a bigger disability than being on AM radio? And yet, somehow or another, these AM radio stations seem to kick ass. When Rush Limbaugh went on AM radio, it was dying its last breath. It was drawing its last breath, saying, ugh. They were trying AM stereo. What can we do? It was dead. Rush Limbaugh had a message that hadn't been spoken before, and it brought the AM band back to life. Do you know how hard it is to get people to go from FM to AM, from XM to FM? No. Let's try this. From iPod or internet, then to XM, then from XM to FM, then from FM to AM. Do you know how hard it is to get ratings on the AM band? And yet we seem to do it. It's weird, isn't it? Yet this guy can't do it. He can't do it. When he says there's no poor people, I was poor until I was successful. I was poor when I started AM radio, poor. You know what happened? I figured out how to do it. I had talent, I had skill, I had intelligence. I could do it. I had a message that people wanted to hear. This guy? No.
Sadly, you can't socialize any of those things. Sadly, the government can't give Ed Shcultz talent, know-how, drive, and skill. Can't
and
do
I
it.
feel bad because God didn't even give him looks.
No. You got nothing. You got nothing.
What an amazing admission, though, about the failure of your career.
Yeah.
When you have to sit there on your radio show and beg the government to give you to force people to listen to you. You can't succeed when people have a choice.
I'm telling you, he is part of MSNBC, and it's interesting because MSNBC has given him a platform, and he has failed in that.
Yeah,
complete failure at everything.
Failed.
It is amazing because you can't force people. You can force him onto the stations, but you can't force the people to listen to him.
Right, but that's not their goal. They don't
care.
Look, they don't give a rat's butt.
But the thing is, it's been tried. I mean, even Clear Channel. The company that he's obviously complaining about that syndicates
how many stations did we lose when Clear Channel decided we're going to try this liberal
Air
talk?
America.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
a decent amount. Yeah.
Maybe even half at the time.
I don't know if it was that much, but it was a lot of, and some of them important stations.
Really important stations.
Clear Channel, in a preemptive move, decided, all right, let's just put Air America on.
I lost Cleveland WTAM because of this move. They've decided to do Jerry Springer because he would be right or he'd be left. And let's put a real extreme left view next to Rush Limbaugh, and so they took me off.
It doesn't work.
Failure.
Total failure.
Failure. And by the way, Cleveland, it's so great to be back on 1100 WTAM. Oh, what a nightmare that was. What just an absolute nightmare. And they tried it. Yeah. If it would have worked, they would still be doing it.
Yeah, and they were willing to try it to see if they could succeed and make money on it because they're a company and then that's what they do.
Right.
And it didn't work and they failed. And Ed Shcultz has failed at everything he's ever attempted with the exception of, I think, a local show in Fargo. So, I mean...
No, but Fargo's a very competitive market.
There's over 3 stations.
No, seriously,
it's
over
a very stations.
It's a tough market to compete in. I can see why he went right from Fargo to MSNBC because they compete just that well. Goldline is our sponsor this half hour. I mean, that's why we're all going to get shot in the head because once these guys come on, once these guys get in control of everything, they just shoot people like us because they're all failures. That's who loves socialism. Failures. People who can't get the job done in a competitive market, so they have to shoot their competitors. That's what happens. You know what? That's why there's no real violence except from nut jobs on the right. Because the right, they're just like, well, we'll just make a better argument. We'll just make a better mousetrap. We'll just build a better system. That's what we'll do. They're not worried about gunplay because they'll just bury you with the competitive market. That's the way capitalists do it. But thanks, Ed, for stopping by. It was a cute little effort here. And enjoy your poverty. 866 or 87. What the hell is our phone number?
888-727 I believe.
PCK.
Wow, we went through 866-877.
I don't even know what it is.
Dial a combination of numbers until we answer.
800-444-555.
So, can you give me the quote from Ed Shcultz here on the Fairness Doctrine a year ago?
Yes, I can do that for you.
Hang on, let me start with this. This is from yesterday. Here's Ed Shcultz from yesterday.
It is a cultural war that's taking place in America. You're exactly right. And it's being played out over the airwaves of America. And I hope the Democrats now turn to the Fairness Doctrine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's time now for the Democrats to consider the Fairness Doctrine when you've got Rush Limbaugh out there saying we've got to defeat these bastards.
Yes.
He is now openly admitting that he is going to work against and campaign against against the Democratic Party.
He's always been clear on that.
He's always been. Is
that a new deal for Rush?
Okay, stop. Okay, so there he is. This is yesterday. Here he is just before the election.
This is who talks to. He's talking to someone who was saying that the Fairness Doctrine is coming back over at Newsbusters, and he said, "Who talks to Nancy Pelosi more, you or me? Have you talked to Nancy Pelosi ever? Because if he had once, had he done some more than... this is just... He's
Ed Shcultz.
He doesn't speak in coherent sentences. But he responded, quote, well, I just spoke to Nancy Pelosi, and no one wants to see the fairness doctrine brought back.
No one.
No one.
No one.
Except he's now calling.
Except me now.
Now that we have power... I mean, listen to this. He's calling for the fairness doctrine after they've won. Not after they've lost, after they've won. They still got it done with all of the debate, and yet they want to shut down the debate. They want to make it even easier than it was. They've won, and they want to shut you up. Imagine what they would have done if they would have lost. Killed us all?
Does that tell you how comfortable
what
they
is
are?
That?